and he was pissed about it. He didn't want to be. It's like at a certain point when you say all this stuff about the company you work for, the hammer's going to drop. But I fired him and offered him unemployment. He said he didn't want it. And that was legitimately the last time I ever spoke to him.
As harsh as these words may be, there is little to no resentment from either party. Screw Attack will later go on to be purchased by Fullscreen, paired with Rooster Teeth, where Screw Attack was made a brand under Rooster Teeth. As the years progressed for the company, Craig tells a tale of how creative control was stripped away with the increasing difficulty of producing content in exchange for stability in the form of income.
All right, so Fullscreen acquired us, and then they acquired Rooster Teeth, and then Fullscreen paired us together, and they made Screw Attack a brand under Rooster Teeth. Full transparency, that was the worst 3 years of my life. Just professionally, I had gone from. There are a number of reasons why. Number one was you go from having total creative freedom to essentially having. I had to get like 7 signatures to get anything done at Rooster Teeth. Now, Rooster Teeth, they obviously have had tremendous success over their time, and they have a method of getting things done. There's a method to their madness, which has worked for them. But for us, we went in working with Rooster Teeth as kind of the unknown. They didn't know us, we didn't know them, and then we're a brand in their company. So the people who are making decisions for us, they don't know our voice and they don't know our audience, right? So how can people who don't know your voice, don't know your audience, be expected to make decisions for your voice and audience? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Craig would eventually leave, and the history of Screw Attack in the form of its earlier videos are now wiped from the internet, in replacement for its most popular series, Death Battle. But that is a story for another time. Veering back to Jared and his departure from Screw Attack, he was now dedicated to his channel. His content was more plentiful, but still inconsistent. He was jumping from 1-minute reviews of games, let's plays, recordings of panels, and retrospectives. It was all tied together under older and sometimes newer games. And it was working. From October, he saw a 50% subscriber increase, sitting at 30,000 subs. The next month brought 10,000 more. These first 2 months since being fired from Screw Attack were both important and difficult. He was barely staying on top of things due to YouTube AdSense. Even with frugal spending, after paying his bills, he was left with around $40 in his bank account, tempting him to get a traditional job elsewhere. The importance of these.
Hey everybody, this is the aforementioned stream from last night. I'm just trying to line out some 19 and hopefully lining out 19 gives kind of me that edge of I can play 19 survival, not go too aggressive and play to kill screen.
The combined efforts of all them boosted attention to the rest of his
We might do that, try transition training or whatnot, but right now I want to get a 19 start PB and all that stuff, so I think that's a good goal.
And Let's Play style series, often tackling different challenges like the Nuzlocke Pokemon Challenge, where players are required to release any Pokemon that faints at any point in the game, adding content for not only his channel, but also his Twitch stream. His channel, like the other game review channels around him, saw steady growth, with each month getting on average more views than the last. By the start of 2014, he sat comfortably at 200,000 subs, with his peers getting similar continued success, like Peanut Butter Gamer, who he had known since his time managing Screw Attack's game store, and JonTron, who as the years passed grew closer too. It made sense for those making this content to collaborate. These efforts went further than a cameo in a video, because it brought back the Normal Boots website. A website initially established around 2010, its purpose was for collaborators, namely JonTron and Peanut Butter Gamer, to earn revenue where it wasn't always available on YouTube. Though with the increase of monetizable videos and YouTube's partnerships taking hold, it was no longer necessary to run, leading to its closure in 2012. But now, it was being resurrected in 2014. Its founding group, alongside new members like Pro Jared, similarly unsatisfied with YouTube, came together to reopen Normal Boots, where most members made exclusive and or allowed some content to be published on.
Hang on, I'll be right back. I need
this
to
was in part
wash my hands. I like to have a dry hand
content
for
ID
this.
system was targeting their channels. That meant a number of things, like the revenue of the videos going to the owner of the person who claimed the video, or it being taken down altogether. But this was not a problem on normal boots, and it even allowed for riskier content to be uploaded, as Jared explains in his now removed announcement video uploaded January 25th, 2014.
Normal Boots is back, baby. That absolutely is real. You can go to normalboots.com and see tons of brand new videos from all of us. I know some people are already wondering, why are you even doing this? Well, for a few reasons. You've no doubt heard about the YouTube content ID sweeps, and it has been affecting all of us. And with our own website, this will allow us to not have to worry about it, and even better,
but yeah, I hope everyone's having a good morning.
Things on Normal Boots that we couldn't do on YouTube, and because of that, Normal Boots is going to get a lot of exclusive videos because they just wouldn't work on YouTube.
This website, or even video cameos, were still not the extent of Jared and Friends collaborations. It became well known that Jared liked to attend conventions, and as his popularity increased, he hosted more and more panels. Many times, he was on panels with other content creator friends like Peanut Butter Gamer, The Completionist, and JonTron. The one taking place specifically in January of 2014 was one at MagFest 12. The purpose of the panel, aside from the expected fan interactions, was to read hate comments as to showcase and make light of the most strangest and malicious ones. On this panel, there was an increasingly obvious pattern that the hosts address. Hate comments towards JonTron amounted to commenting on his weight. Those directed towards the Completionist were based on his race that the commentator often got wrong. Those directed towards Peanut Butter Gamer, though he is heterosexual, were full of homophobic slurs, and those directed towards Jared often made fun of his appearance, specifically his face.
For example, it turns out I'm ugly as fuck. Ugly as fuck. 80% of the time they are somehow making fun of the way I look or the way I dress. Or something I can't even like
I don't know. Nothing wrong with the way he dressed.
But I hate his fucking face. I don't watch his shit, only hear it. I am like that way. He doesn't like me, so I'm alright. What's wrong with your face?
They should just replace, they should do an edit and replace that guy with you.
Everybody likes it that you're ugly. Thanks, man. I fucking cover. Thank you.
This observation was also made by various users in the comments section. Maybe it was Jared's increased appearance on his iconic thumbnails or any other reason that drew people to comment and focus on his appearance. Such comments will hardly ever do well for any person's self-confidence. To offset this was an announcement on June 21st, 2014. After much anticipation, his girlfriend, who happens to be a cosplayer that he'd been dating for about 3 years, was now his cosplayer wife. There was a second addition to his life this month, a second channel under the name of Pro Jared Plays, it being established to host Let's Play style videos and separate them from his channel. A now deleted gem of his channel was one of the videos his wife made an appearance on, where they played the dating sim Asagao Academy. The title of the video was Dating My Friends. On the topic of friends, Jared continued his trend of collaborations as he was the very first guest for the new Game Grumps series, Grumpcade, a Let's Play series that often involved guests, hosted by none other than the Game Grumps member Rubber Ross.
Okay. Could I announce who the first Grumpcade guest is?
Oh yeah, of course.
It's Pro Jared. Right in the front.
Pro Jared.
It'll be soon.
With continued dedication to his channels and appearances on others, 2015 was the peak of Jared's growth. This year alone, he gained nearly 300,000 subs for a total of 750,000. And Jared, at this point,
We're just gonna keep moving the needle a little bit
has had
as
a
we
very
warm up.
typical and uninteresting rise in the content creator sphere. Any of these events, like optimization of his videos, collaborations, and establishments of a second channel, are hardly developments that are unique to him. Even his videos fall under a very recognizable format. And as far as YouTube content goes, trends on a very safe, drama-free line. Such safety allowed him to interview the then CEO of Nintendo America and have a short sub-1 minute appearance on the Nickelodeon original television series Game Breakers. The most he ever interacts with his audience is at panels or live streams. He's never even been interviewed besides quick questions thrown at him at conventions. This is all to say that Jared, due to his own decision, or just because he is that way as a person, does well to separate his personal and content creator side. Or so we thought, but that will come into play later. There are many pros and cons to this, like the avoidance of drama as he does not feel it necessary to give too much information about his personal life. That lack of information can also be detrimental if he was ever to be involved in drama. His inexperience could make it difficult to keep his public perception a positive one, and information from his personal life, controversial or not, could always be manipulated by the person who uncovers it, making it seem that Jared hid this bit of information about his life because he knew how controversial it was, as opposed to not wanting to give away unnecessary information about his habits. As cryptic as this might seem, it will make sense in the coming minutes. We start in 2016, a time when Jared and some other channels like him are on a decline. His form of video game reviews are either losing favor in the algorithm or are not being innovative enough to keep audiences interested. So his subscriber growth by 2017 practically stagnated, meaning that his reach was limited to returning viewers that brought a steady amount of views but no promise of growth and a certainty of a very calm decline. But we know that didn't happen. Jared's previous channel name was DM Jared, standing for Dungeon Master Jared, or the person who organizes
Snowy.
sort of guides players through role-playing tabletop board games like Dungeons and Dragons.
Snowy, how are you doing? I know you've been delivering me lots of good news on the Discord DMs. And yeah, very happy for you, dude.
His real experience with the board game Dungeons & Dragons became useful when Jared and friends began a new series revolving around D&D. Involved were members of the Game Grumps, Jared, and Rubber Ross's wife, Holly. This is one
That's
of the
good, yeah.
collaborations between them all.
What is it?
Holly
It's
can
Monday.
also be seen in videos
Yeah, it's
with
not a bad
Jared's
day.
wife, Heidi,
I'm a hipster. Hi, my name's Holly.
where the group cosplayed at conventions. But there was something going
Oh,
on.
just doing fine.
Jared's declining growth
Got up,
due
had
to
a nice
the algorithm
breakfast.
per se wasn't really the reason for his lower view counts. It was his severe lack of uploads, where sometimes in his earlier years he uploaded several times a week. By May of 2019, he was sitting just above 1 million subscribers, and he only posted 2 videos in the last 9 months. Periods like these where creators are lacking motivation is common as it is in any other career field. The difference being creators set their own schedule and complacency.
Kind of working on
is
my
evident.
19
It becomes
Lineout
more
game.
common with the older a channel gets. As for Jared, looking not just at
But
his
I think
channel, has been creating online
we're gonna do a
content
few
for
more
over
games,
8
see if it's
years.
not happening.
And
We're gonna
looking
go
as
back
he
down to
knows
18
on
and
YouTube,
practice that.
He wasn't keeping it a secret that this year has been hard.
And then
for
we're
him
gonna
to
get
do,
ready to
and it
fall
was
eventually.
affecting his workflow. Hence the break in videos. But he was due in for a different kind of break. On May 8th, 2019, Jared on Twitter posted this statement that for the next few days caused his unassuming online presence to be no more, as he would rise the ranks of Twitter trending not just in the US, but also globally. This statement was announcing to the public, in reference to the first line, they, Heidi and Jared, were getting a divorce, and the wording makes it seem like it was a mutual decision. Jared then goes on to inform readers that they may see various sorts of misinformation and to use critical thinking
Oh
to
God.
not fall into their pitfalls, and there would be no more information on the matter, done to respect his soon-to-be ex-wife, Heidi's, privacy. Jared then goes on to say that he doesn't just want to leave the marriage with grace, but also style. A perplexing choice of words, having people question how one could leave their marriage in style, and that this
Yeah.
was to be anything but graceful.
That's a weird
At
way
the
to
time
say
posting
that,
this,
but
Jared had
I
blocked
kind of
Heidi
see what
on
he
Twitter.
means, maybe?
28 minutes later, Heidi posted something in response. Quote, and recently learned that my husband, Pro Jared, has been fucking Holly Conrad behind my back for months.
Oh
I
God.
have no idea what announcement he just made because he blocked me. Unquote. A heavy accusation to make because, of course, the cheating, and that Holly Conrad, as of September 2018, separated from Rubber Ross. So according to Heidi, he wasn't just cheating on anyone. It was the ex-wife of another public figure, Rubber Ross, meaning that this was contained within a public friend group.
That's
Adding
rough.
fuel to this fire, Holly Conrad, also known as Commander Holly, replied in support of Jared's statement less than an hour later, saying, "I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm here for you if you need it."
Oh
To
boy.
Heidi tweeted at her, "Honestly, Holly Conrad, you look very ashamed and insecure in all the nudes you sent my husband. I think it would help your chronic self-esteem issues if you started fucking men that weren't already married."
Oh
This wasn't
boy.
even close to the extent of Heidi's statements. The post about Jared blocking her became an 8-post long thread, where she states she has proof of the cheating in the form of conversations and photographs. She then goes on to accuse him of gaslighting, then states that they
Ooh.
actually broke up back in February. But even prior to that, for the past year, according to her, he kept her
Thanks,
away
bro.
from their friend group by spreading a version of events that omits information that makes her look worse. Closing by saying that his statement, most likely referencing him saying "beware of rumors," was an attempt to silence her before she could say anything. At one point, according to Heidi, Jared even tried to get her to sign a non-disclosure
A
agreement.
non-disclosure
Within
for their
30
marriage.
minutes of Heidi's response, this was trending worldwide on Twitter. Even looking at the Wayback Machine, a fair portion of captures are captured in different languages. From here, things continued to escalate when Sin Jared was discovered. A secret Tumblr that Jared ran for the purpose of exchanging nudes with fans. Many members of the deleted Tumblr came out against Jared because, according to them, he convinced them that they were allowed to exchange nudes because he claimed he was in an open relationship. And these ex-users of Sin Jared began posting various nudes of him on Twitter. Competing with those images was one of Jared positioned in a very sexual manner, wearing a Sailor Mercury costume. A picture that was posted prior to this chaos, but was now making its rounds through the internet. As for the person Jared was exchanging nudes with on Tumblr,
Oh
he
my
stated that he
goodness.
sought only
Oh
consent
my
from adults
goodness,
and
that
required
is-
confirmation from those he received
Oh.
pictures from.
Uh,
Contesting that was a statement from Chai, a person that alleges that prior to their transition, sent Jared explicit pictures, making it clear to Jared several times that Chai was 16 at the time.
oh, come on,
Regardless of
Jared.
Chai, Jared encouraged it,
That's
and without Chai's consent, posted
not
their nudes to the
freaking-
Send Jared Tumblr when Chai explicitly told Jared not to. Chai stating that Jared reciprocated with nudes, but a very important aspect is that they were lacking any evidence whatsoever, and admitted to it. But even so, contacted Normal Boots and informed them of Jared's actions, to which they said they were taking very seriously.
Good.
As for the evidence, Chai defers to a friend who says was also underage at the time, and supposedly has screenshots. This friend goes by Charlie, and tells a similar story to that at Chai's, believing they informed Jared they were 16 at the time, and claims there is evidence of it to much skepticism. But not only did Charlie post chat logs where Jared is excited to pleasure himself to supposed images of Charlie,
Jeez.
Charlie also posted the header of the Sim Jared Tumblr to prove of its existence. All this was happening within 24 hours of Jared announcing his divorce. And in that chaos, all these accusations were being thrown around, with Chai and Charlie's claims being the most damning, yet lacking the most evidence, providing only select chat logs. But even with a severe lack of evidence for more severe accusations, this destruction of Jared's image from multiple sources worked in tandem to destroy his credibility, and shape the public perception of him into a terrible sexual deviant. Still, less than 24 hours in, among losing tens of thousands of subscribers, Normal Boots announced that Jared was no longer with them. An action we later learned was mutual, as Jared wanted to save Normal Boots from going down with him, making yet
Well, good
another
for you.
controversial
Good decision.
ex-member of Normal Boots. The other well-known one being JonTron, who in March of 2017 had an online debate with streamer Destiny, saying very controversial things that, among other things, led to his departure of Normal Boots. Here are two select quotes.
More crime relative to wealthier black people?
They do. Wealthy blacks also commit more crime than poor whites. That's a fact.
Wait, what?
Yeah, look it up. Get out of here with that.
What?
All right,
Get out of
dude.
here with what?
People like me are supposed to listen to people like you chatter on about this oppression in America. It doesn't exist, dude. It doesn't exist. There's
What
no
are you talking
oppression.
about?
In John's time of need, Jared chose not to defend him. But he didn't stay silent either. This is an April Fool's joke covering Madden, released less than a month after that infamous debate.
People like me are supposed to listen to people like you chatter on about this oppression in Madden. It doesn't exist. I'm just trying to play the game as it was explained to me, which, for the record, is pretty much not at all.
That's funny.
I'm
He's
just
just.
trying my best to defend my shitty yellow castle or whatever, and I keep getting all of these penalties called against me, which frankly is just unfair because it's like the other teams keep getting away with stuff. The best Packers commit more penalties than the worst Vikings. That's a fact. Yeah, look it up.
Look it up.
You know what's
Where Jared pokes fun at his ex-friend and coworker. As 2 years passed, with John regretting his decision and being mostly forgiven by the internet, what stuck and was most relevant now was Jared's betrayal. And with Jared not making many, if any, at all.
I think that was
enemies
a
this time on
funny joke
YouTube,
Jared made,
besides
but like,
Darkside
come on.
Phil, who he previously poked fun at in the past. That was now
Darkside Phil,
reveling
come
in
on,
Jared's
bro.
fall,
They're punching
John's
low.
run was probably the most fitting due to the tables being turned. So even though he was being egged on, John did not say much on what was happening. Others, specifically in Pro Jared's own subreddit, took it upon themselves to both ban Pro Jared's account from his own subreddit and change the theme of it to John's run. The
That's funny.
popularity of this subreddit increased tremendously following Jared's ongoing drama. The posts were largely just memes making fun of Jared and his adultery. Among these typical posts, the most popular post was created by user Pro Jared Cheats on Wife, who uploaded a picture of Danny DeVito that got around 74,000 upvotes. To cover the ongoing drama and
Danny
what made it so
DeVito.
popular would be impossible to not mention the massive influx of posts, memes, and comments about Jared's appearance flooding over Twitter and now news on YouTube. As memes do, they change widely. There were many on the cheating, like this post, retranslating Jared's statement
I
to
cheat on my
what
wife.
some
I cheat
saw
on-
as a more accurate one. This video with relevant voiceover.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Cheaters.
Wanna
Cheat.
Cause I'm
Cheating.
live right now.
My wife.
I'm playing
Cheating.
game.
Cheating.
Get smaller. It's a good time. There might be
Other people that are not my wife.
there may be familiar faces showing up.
We can't forget the biggest part of this, which was the discovery of this controversy. People found out about this in many different ways because there was so much happening in a short amount of time. Whether you heard about it directly from Ground Zero and Heidi's first tweet, the countless news articles about him, the consistent stream of Jared's nudes flooding Twitter, the discovery of his secret nudes exchange Tumblr, or discovering it by other content creators discussing it. Everyone was bonded by a hatred of Jared, and with his actions easily perceived as horrible, there was no need to hold back on insults.
He's a Jad. All right, let's get back to the memes. So the biggest YouTube drama of 2019 is really over a dude that looks like this, huh?
The fuck is
that
that
an
even from?
Earthworm
That's
Jim?
what I mean. It's just, I don't know. It's
it's
so
a worm
funny.
of
Like,
some sort.
normally you wouldn't feel comfortable.
So memeable. But I think the fact that he's just so strangely confident, but at the same time, probably one of the goofiest looking dudes of all
Yeah.
time. Like, I remember just casually looking at his channel once and seeing, because if you go to his channel, he puts that face in all of his. You can't even find his YouTube channel with all the drama. He puts this face in all of his thumbnails, and it just looks so. Ugh.
Can you imagine if he was any more famous? What it would do?
Right.
That's what happens with R. Kelly.
That's right. That's a great point.
Otherwise. And honestly, I'm sitting back here and I'm asking myself, this guy literally had the Aragorn of a wife and then downgraded to a Smeagol. Like, take this into account. This is what we're dealing with right here. This is what he looks like. This is who he was with. And then he downgraded to that. It's like, wow, man, are you a clown? Are you dumb?
Pro Jared is quite the interesting character. And I say interesting in the fact that Pro fucking Jared looks like a small waterfowl without any feathers. But I'll be damned if this motherfucker hasn't been throwing pictures of himself all over the internet fishing for bitches. And the funny thing is, you gotta give it to Jared, he thinks he's sexy.
If there was anything these commentators could not agree on, was the size of his genitals.
Whoa, what?
What were you thinking, you goofy fuck? Why would you send your penis pictures out to women when it's that small?
All I know is that I've seen Jared's penis. I mean, that's the only relevant.
How is it?
How is it?
Yeah.
It's fine. It's a normal penis.
A man cheating on his
What?
wife is extremely mundane.
Yeah, but when it's pro Jared and his dick is massive, it's not mundane anymore.
For those less vocal, there were other ways to withdraw support, like unsubscribing to Jared and to anyone in support of him. Like longtime content creator friend Peanut Butter Gamer, that responded directly to Heidi's tweet and said, "It ain't it, chief." Followed up by, "Don't you think this is a bad idea?" Peanut Butter Gamer was one of the few that actually knew about the situation past the surface level. Regardless, in the public eye, he was defending an adulterous groomer with a vague statement that provides no information besides him stating his stance at the time.
The power of the internet and rumors, though.
Saying it was hard for him to believe the accusations, hoping that more would come out and Jared would defend himself to any capacity. Few creators were wanting to hear Jared's side. Even if it felt like a clear-cut case of cheating, still, those vague tweets in opposition to Heidi netted Peanut Butter Gamer a 20,000 sub loss in 2 days. This was only a fraction of what Jared was losing. As the week went by, Jared went from around 1 million subscribers to 800,000. Ex-fans celebrating his rapid sub loss by congratulating him on the new milestones. Others posted his golden play button being Thanos snapped out of existence. As for Commander Holly, the hate was getting so bad, she decided it was best to lock her Twitter account. Even on the Conspiracy Grumps Reddit, people were connecting the dots between Ross and Holly's divorce the year prior to Jared's ongoing scandal. After a plentiful amount of comparisons of Jared to fictional characters like this worm from the Danish movie Disco Worms, the chaos of Twitter trending was leaving Jared, not because there was a resolution of any sort, but he was effectively being saved by James Charles' own controversy, as it pulled much coverage and hate from him around 48 hours since Jared posted his initial statement. Something that helped the drama die down was the lack of a response from Jared or Holly. This also worked to hurt both of them significantly by not releasing a response. Jared seemed all the more guilty by not denying any accusations, even when those defending him were practically begging for a response, making the outcome worse for Jared. Heidi, on the other hand, was persistently tweeting, both mentioning updates on a personal life and bringing to light how terrible of a person Jared was, saying she stood with all others that Jared manipulated, gaslit, and took advantage of. These tweets were progressively getting less and less interest, until Jared, 9 days after his initial post, finally responded with a lengthy apology of sorts. Jared really apologized to those that saw the many lewd photos of him floating around the internet. He also dropped the bombshell that he was in an open relationship with Heidi, suggested by Heidi, who according to Jared had several casual partners, and a more serious partner since 2017.
Well, that's just not a marriage at all.
To engage with other women, specifically Holly. But things got too serious between him and Commander Holly, which made Heidi angry as she now wanted to return back to a monogamous relationship. On the next page, he goes against the dominating narrative, stating that he was never the abuser, and with the encouragement of his friends, Jared worked up the courage to try to leave Holly by October 2018. Each time, according to Jared, she threatened to destroy his career. In a show of good faith and understanding, because she was financially dependent on him, he helped her look for a new apartment and bought her a car. He then goes on to say that he officially filed for divorce 4 days ago on the 13th during the downtrend of the drama. His excuse for his over week-long silence is that he didn't want to feed the drama as he wanted it to remain a private matter, ending by saying he only tried to do what was best for him and Heidi. Almost immediately, Heidi responded by stating his statement.
Let's try it. We need a 200. Let's try to get a 200. 200's got to be. With the way I'm playing, has to be.
A key piece of information that Heidi withheld that would have changed the narrative entirely if she was forthcoming with it since the beginning. She says that she would consent for it when she found Jared was not being fully transparent about his relationship with Holly. It was clear now that transparency was a major issue, not just in relevance to Jared's relationship with Commander Holly, but the building contradictions and withholding of information Heidi was increasingly responsible of. She then goes on to criticize Jared for bringing more attention to something that in his statement said he didn't want to do, and Heidi herself, in a long list of tweets, continued to mention, and that is how she just wanted things to die down, saying she would follow his lead if he stopped tweeting. But it wasn't Jared that further antagonized a response. It was in part people asking questions and her trying to cover her bases, which is something that Jared was failing to do at every turn. It was also Commander Holly when back on Twitter, she posted, quote, "For the past year, I've been trying to help someone I care about leave an abusive relationship. I'm telling my story with receipts I can legally share, with no hate and no vindictiveness. I just need to bring the truth to light regarding Heidi and pro-Jared," unquote. Holly continues by starting a lengthy tweet thread where she explains her absence because she was in hospital due to self-harming thoughts, then leads on to her belief that it was not okay for Jared to exchange nudes with fans. However, she states that she had evidence to prove that Jared did confirm the ages and consent of those he exchanged nudes with, challenging the accusations of Chai and Charlie that they initially staked claims against. As for Heidi, there are many words here, but only a few matter to us. Like these, where Commander Holly provides a screenshot of a text message showing Heidi giving full permission to Jared to do anything he wants with Commander Holly. But according to Commander Holly, they were getting emotionally close, which largely bothered Heidi and brought on attempts to separate them. She then posts other text messages from the perspective of Jared. And here, his ex-wife is in a clearly agitated state, making a threat to not only sabotage their D&D game, but also destroy everything Jared has built up. But it'd be better than dealing with the frustration that is destroying her, and these threats continued. Two major perspectives are taken. One is that Heidi is mentally unwell for casting such threats that she actually went through with Jared, but others, very much in her defense, are stating that this state of mind was caused by the desperation that came with living with pro-Jared. Some extend this forgiveness to her other behaviors that barred alleged witnesses, like screaming at Jared at parties, conventions, on planes, and his own house. A new piece of important information now is that it turns out Jared was not the first one to post about their divorce. It was Heidi that announced it a day prior on Facebook. In this very lengthy post, she states outright that Jared was cheating, lying, gaslighting her, and was her abuser, saying that it was the single most devastating experience of her life, promising a more public and potentially equally as accusatory announcement. Which is when Jared posted his announcement and Heidi took control, later reveling on Facebook at the public execution of Jared. This shifted the tide slightly against Heidi, but overall just added more to the confusing mess that was this she said he said situation that continually got less and less and less interest. One thing was certain: Heidi was getting caught in more lies. It was not her that filed for divorce. It was Jared 5 days after she made the post who officially filed for the divorce. As for the other claims and narratives floating around, Heidi was excellent at responding immediately, showing her side of text messages with Commander Holly, where she was previously, a little over a year ago, crumbled when Heidi confronted her on this abuser narrative, and Commander Holly agreed it was right for Heidi to act the way she was acting. And the information about Heidi's boyfriend was that he was long distance, and she eventually broke it off and tried to go back to a monogamous relationship with Jared, even though he wasn't following the rules by not being completely forthcoming with information involving Commander Holly. If you are confused about this situation, that's alright. That was many people's state of mind due to all these statements coming out and the confusion about what's actually going on. To recap their relationship, it started off as monogamous. It was failing, so Heidi requested a polyamorous relationship, to which Jared agreed. Jared and Commander Holly were getting close, which was okay with Heidi. Problems arose when Jared wasn't forthcoming with his feelings or sharing the text messages between him and Commander Holly with Heidi. This made her frustrated as it continued to happen, not to mention she found out Holly and Ross were not in an open relationship like them, which is when she cut off her existing relationships and requested to go back to a monogamous relationship, which is where Commander Holly and Jared continue to see each other and is where she deemed it cheating, through Jared's continued deception and lies combined with a very cold approach to her. This eventually led to the massive drama we saw unfold. And this, along with the many other accusations against Jared, was the narrative. It was what stuck in few people's minds that went through and followed the unraveling chaos until an abrupt end by late May where it all died down. There were a few tweets from Heidi here and there answering questions about the situation. That much still could not be said about Jared, who took the fallout of it all. Even after losing a quarter of his subscribers and support from the majority of the internet, there were still no updates on his social medias. This changed August 27th, when he posted a 42-minute long video titled, "You've Been Lied To," kicking it off with a disheveled-looking Jared opening with reinforcing what the video is titled, and that he and the internet was lied to.
Hey, it's me. And I was lied to. And so are you.
A very gripping statement and video in general. Even though he had not uploaded in months, still gained a lot of attention, getting hundreds of thousands of views the day of its upload. In the video, Jared excuses his lengthy period of silence by saying he was using that time to get all the receipts to formulate a good response. First on the docket was his nude Tumblr. He stated it was solely consenting adults and that no benefit will come from it, nor did he reach out to people, leaving the choice for others to reach out to him.
I know a lot of people have been wondering why I've been silent and why it's taken me 3 months to say something. Serious allegations need to be taken seriously.
Yep.
I spent this entire time talking to as many people as I could. Lawyers, law experts, officials, anyone. And I wasn't going to do anything until I was certain that it would be safe to talk about. Thankfully, it is. So, here I am. Thank you for hearing me out. And I've already seen a lot of posts from people telling me to move on or that the tea is cold. Sorry that this is no longer entertaining for them, but just because they're bored of it doesn't mean that the harassment stopped or that the story is final and over. What this all came down to was people saying that I was exchanging nudes with fans on Snapchat and Tumblr, and a lot of people want to know if I did any of that. Yeah, I did. And I always made it clear that it was for consenting adults only. This came about when numerous people had asked me about it and wanted to know if it was okay to do. I said yes, that it would be a safe place for people who wish to express themselves in that way and for me to express myself in that way. It was an open invitation for those who wanted to do it, and that I wouldn't be offended or upset, and that nothing would be shared or saved without explicit permission. To be clear, it was an open invitation to those who wanted to participate. The choice was always up to them. At no point did I ever go through my followers list and single out individuals or screen names and pursue them. I never did that. I always left the choice up to them.
He does address that he sees it now as a power imbalance because of his status, even though that was not his intention.
It doesn't matter how neutral the intent was, just being in this position causes a power imbalance. And a lot of people saw that and were upset at me for that reason. And to those of you who feel that way, I completely understand how you feel and why you feel that way. And I'm sorry.
The more damning matter were the accusations that he exchanged news with minors sourced from the accusers on Twitter, Charlie and Chai.
But that isn't the main grievance that everyone has with me. It's the other allegations by these two. They're both named Charlie, which is going to be confusing. So for the one from the UK, I'm going to use his nickname, which is Chai. Their tweets were some serious accusations, and I'll go over them, but they both basically boil down to the same thing. That they were underage, that I knew this, and that I was okay with it, and encouraged them to interact with me.
Starting with Chai, he finds the accusations were deleted.
If we go to Chai's accusations, we can see that. Ah, never mind.
Yeah.
He deleted his accusations. Well, that's okay, because we can still go to Charlie's Twitter, and we can see that. No, wait. They deleted theirs too.
By finding Chai's personal blog and posts from the time period that those alleged nudes were exchanged, and finds that Chai was having psychosis from a mind-altering head injury received when playing basketball, and was suffering from intense hallucinations.
Are you familiar with the website medium.com? It's a website in which people can write articles and blog posts for public viewing. Chai has quite a few of them on there, and a couple of them are relevant to this situation, especially this one, titled, "I've been disabled for 2 years." I'm not going to read every part of it because not everything in here is pertinent, but I'll make a link available so that if you want, you can read through all of it. The 9th of November 2015 is the most notable date in my life and always will be. Most people remember their wedding day or their 18th birthday or the day someone close to them died. For me, I remember the day of my accident. We were playing basketball. I loved basketball. My height was my downfall, as it turned out. I was running to try and get the ball from someone. I ran, boom. I fell down hard, landing on my knees and snapping my head forward so that my forehead smacked against the floor. It was almost the end of the lesson, so I asked to be excused to the changing room. The rest of the class came in and we all started getting changed. That's the last thing I properly remember until about 6 months later. Listing your symptoms over and over gets pretty exhausting. Fatigue, severe head pain, spasms of pain, extremely bad short-term memory, big gaps in long-term memory, no concentration, occasionally passing out, psychosis, hallucinations. To reiterate, Chai's accusation was that the things I supposedly did happened between March 2016 and May 2016. Chai also states that he has no memory during this exact same period and hallucinations continuing until August 2016.
This, and Chai's lack of evidence, nullifies their accusations, effectively making them slander. The case with Charlie is different, but follows a similar path, because Jared actually remembers speaking to Charlie, only that Charlie decided to show only the parts of the conversation that would hurt Jared, parts that were sent to his business associates. As a refresher, Charlie made it clear in their statement that they informed Jared multiple times that they were 16. Jared having access to the full conversation proves that they were knowingly lying. He also never actually sent a picture to Charlie, only Charlie to Jared.
Unlike Chai, I actually do remember talking to Charlie. It seemed familiar, but what they were saying didn't sound right. For example, if Charlie would have shown the very start of our messages, you would have seen where Charlie lied. Every single part of Charlie's allegations against me hinges on the belief that I didn't know their age and or didn't ask. They even argued that I should have known their age because they used the phrase, "I am a baby," as if this somehow denotes how old they generally are, even though it's used in a context of shyness or feeling intimidated. And I did ask their age, and they lied. They also clearly knew then that they were doing something they know they shouldn't and is doing something they know I'm not okay with. They had full access to the entire conversation and omitted to all of you that they lied to me, deceiving all of you.
Jared now disproving both the major, now deleted claims that he was a predator, and his reasoning for not asking for further proof beyond asking if they're over 18, like NID, is that he didn't want to dox him.
This does bring up the question, why didn't I ask for people's IDs? And the answer is because that would be asking people to dox themselves, which seems far more risky. Besides, there's no way to verify IDs, and it's very easy for people to Photoshop up one in minutes.
This does not appease those asking that if he knew he couldn't verify someone's age beyond a reasonable doubt, Why would he even risk it? As it stands, though, he does seem to have a reasonable case against those two for slander, considering the fact that they contacted Game Grumps with the intention to remove him, with one completely based in pure lies, and the other partially lying and or dangerously misleading people with what actually happened. A last note on the intentions on why they did this: Jared assumes it was to get closer to the Game Grumps, because they both individually had open interest through blogs about meeting them or another outlet dedicated to sexual fantasies about them. But most importantly was the material gain.
The Game Grumps. Both of them are massive fans of the Grumps. This is really easy to see from Chai having another article on Medium about meeting your idols and talks about meeting the Game Grumps the entire time. Charlie has another Tumblr called Ego Banged, dedicated to sexual fantasies of Dan and Aaron, fan fictions, fan art, and discussions of them having sex with each other, along with Charlie talking about their own sexual experiences, desires, and fantasies. While all the drama was going on, Chai tweeted out links to his Amazon wish list, his PayPal, and to his coffee, and kept it pinned there for weeks. He even tweeted about it again at the end of May. Charlie's pinned tweet, and it's still there, is a link to their commissions page for art, and on this page is a link for a donation.
There were some other accusations disproven, like when a cosplayer accused Jared of showing off their nudes to his content creator pals, when according to Jared, he was actually showing them a non-lewd photo of her in cosplay, chalking it up to a misunderstanding. Dissatisfied with what happened was Jared and the way he was treated by the community.
Alright,
The
I'm
insults
gonna
online
come
from the
back
creators never stood well with him, and he
in a couple
expects them,
hours.
with the release of this video, to
I need
change
some more
their
practice
narrative,
before I do
lamenting
a
that
serious
no one
stream.
tried
This
to
one
reach out
wasn't
to him.
serious.